Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you for showing up. We appreciate your being here tonight. I'm going to kick this off right on time here. For those of you who don't know me, I think I know most of you, but my name is Bob Daniels, and I'm the president of the board of directors of the Manistee County Council on Aging. And we're the organization behind the project to convert the former Olson's grocery store in Manistee into a combination senior center and new Save-A-Lot grocery store. We have applied for a loan, we being the Council on Aging, has applied for a loan from the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Development Organization to fund this project. One of the USDA requirements is that we hold a formally announced public meeting to present this to the public and to take input from members of the public who come to the meeting. And that's what this meeting is. I've done this presentation so many times I could do it in my sleep, but I'm going to do it one more time here. For those of you who saw it in the newspaper, that was a requirement from USDA that we had to publish that we were going to hold the meeting, and that we have it available for the members of the public to come see. There will be minutes from this, and we will send those on along with the newspaper cutouts of the announcement of the meeting so that they can see what's posted. And then by my count, there's roughly 30 people here, and we'll see if that changes much. But we're passing that information on to USDA along with any significant comments that we get. I'm going to attempt to be taking notes on this as we go along for the minutes. So if I ask you to hold on for just a second while I write something down, please don't be offended. Now, the one thing we will not be discussing at all tonight is the housing portion of this project. Some of you know that there is a potential to put 1 or 2 apartment buildings as part of this, what we're calling the senior village. That has nothing to do with the USDA loan and will not be part of this discussion tonight. We will be talking strictly about the senior center and the grocery store piece of it, the surrounding parking lots, etc. So I will move back and forth between the posters up here and try and explain to you what's what in a relatively succinct fashion anyway. And then if you have a significant question as we're going along, put your hand up, I will try and answer it. And of course I will take questions at the end. We hope to wrap this all up in an hour, but if there's a lot of questions, I'm not going to leave people with unanswered questions. So I will start over on the far right with it. That's as if you're in an airplane or a helicopter looking down at the Olson site on the north side. What you see here is the original Olson building. This piece out there, this piece, and that piece. That is what some of you may remember. This was a Kroger store in Manistee originally. The front part of this was a Sears store. After Kroger moved out, Olson's bought the whole thing eventually, expanded it in several different directions, and it's now roughly 38,000 square feet total in that building. What the Council on Aging will be buying with the USDA loan, and I'll explain more about that in a minute, is this entire building right here, that parking lot, this parking area here and here. That one isn't built yet. That's a future projected parking lot out there. The space you see right here is the first proposed apartment building. That's the second proposed apartment building. The developer will keep those 2 parcels for their future development for the apartment buildings at this point. And back here is a small house that's also part of the project, or part of the property. We will not be acquiring that. The developer will keep that. Now, the way that this is working is, I reached out to Olson's last July when they first announced that they were closing the store. Olson's had worked with the Alliance for Economic Success in Manistee previously. They reached out to AES, and AES agreed to try and put something together on this. So we sat down with Tim Urban from the Alliance for Economic Success and several other people there and started seeing what we could do. Tim talked to a number of developers who we thought might be interested in working this. Olson's had previously talked with the Save-A-Lot people, and yes, we can finally say that. I've been saying just the grocery store for so many months now, but a few weeks ago, the deal was finally finished with Save-A-Lot, so it will be a Save-A-Lot grocery store going in there. And the whole deal started to come together where Third Coast, the development company out of Grand Rapids, will buy the entire project, everything that I just showed you, plus the space for the 2 apartment buildings, plus the house behind, from Olson's. They will buy the entire project, the entire piece of property in and itself, all the buildings, everything that's there. Olson's will then sell the part that I talked with you about to the Council on Aging, to the main Olson's building and some of the parking lot around it. The far right-hand side will be the Save-A-Lot, what was coincidentally the exact footprint of the original Kroger store. Will be the new Save-A-Lot grocery store. The left side of it, including that big wing that goes out to the west, will be the new senior center. The grocery store has no desire to own property. For tax reasons, it's advantageous to them to rent from us. So they will be paying us a rent that's already been agreed. We have a signed lease with them for 10 years with 2 5-year options after that. So basically they are locked in for 10 years or pretty much locked in for an additional 10 years beyond that. The money that comes in from that rent pays a huge percentage of the entire loan that we will have to purchase the entire property. That's possible because the USDA has what is basically below market financing over 40 years instead of the usual 20 or 30 years that you might get on a normal commercial project. So when you spread out the amount of money that we wish to borrow over 40 years at a reduced interest rate, it means that the rent that comes in from the grocery store piece to the Council on Aging will cover all, will cover a large portion of the mortgage payment that the Council on Aging has to make. The rest of the money to make that monthly payment will come from, as you can see, we're going to do some substantial changing inside of that the current grocery store and where the new senior center is going to be. We plan to lease out the main space, the main seating area space. That area right there. For wedding reception, showers, things like that. The pickleball courts will also be available for for non-seniors to use part of the day. It'll be primarily for seniors, but they will be open for people who want to come in and rent an hour or 2 hours or whatever on a pickleball court. The commercial kitchen, which will be in the exact location of the Olson's Bakery and Kitchen back there now, will be completely replaced and updated. It will continue to be the Meals on Wheels kitchen for Manistee County, but also once Meals on Wheels are done, it will be available to small organizations or small individuals who want to prepare and sell food commercially. I keep using the example of Weeby Jam, a little place up north of Bear Lake, where they make homemade jams and the like and sell them out of their shop. But in order to sell that commercially, you have to produce that in an approved Health Department registered kitchen. Our kitchen will be that. It will be available for rental during the hours that the Meals on Wheels program doesn't need it as an additional source of income. And lastly, there are some caterers who would like to use the kitchen for events, say up at the Ramsdome, where there is no kitchen, and our kitchen would be available for rental to them. We've had a number of caterers come through and express an interest in this and some potential interest for what's called the incubator kitchen. So between the rental that we get from the grocery store and what we perceive to be the rental possibilities from the wedding receptions, the incubator kitchen, the kitchen rental overall, the money we would get from the rental of the pickleball courts, we have a budget worked out where we can use that money to pay the entire monthly payment on the loan that we will have from the U.S. Department of Agriculture and not have to use much, if any, of our millage money towards the rental building. The millage money will go, as it does now, towards things like electricity, air conditioning, and all of our programs. So that as part of the USDA requirements, we had to have a financial feasibility report completed by a professional certified public accountant. They have completed the report. They are putting it in its final stages. They have agreed with us that it is financially feasible the way we have laid it out. That report will be this week submitted to USDA along with the report of this meeting and one other document that we're still waiting to hear about historical preservation. Part of the Olson's building is over 50 years old and falls under a requirement that we had to submit a whole bunch of work showing that it really wasn't anything of historical significance. So all of that paperwork is going in. That should all be wrapped up by the end of this week or early next week at the latest. We have been told by the U.S. Department of Agriculture that if all of the documents we submit, which support the application that we submitted back in January, that this project will be approved. So we have been moving forward with the belief that we will be getting the $2.5 million, up to $2.5 million funding that we have requested from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. We have also sold the building that you are now sitting in. We received a full price cash offer for this building. The buyer was not in a particular rush. He wanted it sometime early next year, so we have plenty of time to finish and get into the new building. And when we do, then this building will be sold to them. We have a signed sales agreement with a substantial down payment, so we believe that this will be there. And also, over the 40-some years that the Council on Aging has been in existence, we've managed to save a fairly significant amount of money, and so that money, along with the receipts from the sale of this building, will be going towards the total purchase price of the building. In addition to that, we will be conducting a capital campaign. Actually, it's already starting. We are having what's called a quiet campaign first. We are working with a professional fund development group out of Traverse City. They are connected with Rotary Charities, which, as some of you may know, is the wealthiest Rotary organization in the world. Somebody died and left them a bunch of property that had oil wells on it. They, for instance, purchased the Park Place Hotel and several other places in downtown Traverse City and converted that into very good uses for that area. They have a tremendous interest in what we're doing here because they see this as a potential model for vacant stores in other parts of the 10 counties up here that they might be able to assist on with other organizations looking to do what we're trying to do. Now, not just Rotary Charities, but lots of other organizations at the state level and, in fact, at the national level are looking at this to see if this can be done. Can somebody pull this off? Can you make it happen? Can you create a senior village in a relatively small rural area and make it financially feasible and make it work? So far, all the financial indications are that it can and will work. We have gone over the numbers internally multiple times. The board has reviewed them. Sarah and our accountant Jeannie and I have gone over them. Molly and I have gone over them many times. Now the CPA firm is about ready to put their imprimatur on the bottom of the document that says, yes, this is financially feasible. So this isn't some pie-in-the-sky wild dream of me. This is something that actually can and I firmly believe will work. Now let me explain in a little bit more detail what this project involves. As I said, this is the grocery store piece over here. Work has started already within the building. The wall has been put up separating off the two halves of the former Olson's grocery store. The electricity has already been split. This half is now functioning. The senior center part may be by today. It wasn't as of Friday, but I haven't been in there for a couple days. The gas, the water, the sewer, all of that will be split off also, so they pay their own utilities there. We pay our own utilities here. Because there was only one service going in there, it all had to be split out. The grocery store, as part of this agreement, will completely finish off their interior. We have to do nothing. They finish it off to their specifications. That will be starting momentarily. Save-A-Lot is opening a store in Clare 1 week from today, and they are finishing up everything there. Once that is all wrapped up, they will be moving their crew here to start work on the grocery store piece of this. They are looking at, in all likelihood, an October opening date for the Save-A-Lot grocery store. The rest of this, all of this space here, is the senior center. And so if you extrapolate that to this, there's that wall I just talked about. This is Save-A-Lot over here. This is what will be in the new senior center. This was done by the architect working with the development firm, laying out how we're going to set this up. I mentioned the pickleball courts. These are the two pickleball courts right here. This is the very back wall. This is a refrigerated vegetable bin back in here. No, I'm sorry, that was back in here. This was kind of a meat section, if I remember correctly, but there were other things out here a little bit where there were vegetables, so you try and get a sense of it. This is the old milk service area where you would open the glass doors and reach in and take out a gallon of milk, and it was serviced back through here so that it could be filled up from the back side. Back in here is where the actual vegetable portion was. And again, just get a sense of what we're talking about here. The kitchen is exactly where it is. This was the bulk food area. This was all just regular grocery store stuff, shelving and stuff in here. And this was all warehouse. Very few people were ever back in there, but that's all warehouse back in there. All the shelving has been removed. This is mostly wide open. Part of the deal we have with the developer, there will be all new lighting, all new ceiling tiles, new carpeting put down. It will look much more This isn't exactly, but it'll look much more like that than it ever looked as an Olson store. And these are what the pickleball courts will look like, just so you get an idea. If you're looking here through those, they're set up here as garage doors. That may change to a movable wall. We're not 100% certain on that yet. But here are those garage doors right here. So they're playing pickleball back there, looking through these doors, and this would be the main seating area out here, where we would have our noon meal every day, where we would have the potential for rental for wedding receptions and things like that. Back here, this is listed as activity room. This is actually going to be hardwood flooring there with a movable wall that slides across. So all of our exercise classes are back in here, and we can wall it off from the main part of the dining area and the like. We can still seat 200 or so people in here, and with these we can get over 300 people that we can seat in this. We were asked by some guys if we put a wood shop in. So part of this, these are actually going to be reversed. This one's going to be bigger and this one's going to be smaller, but that's going to be a wood shop back there, and that's going to be just a storage area and the electric cabinet back in there. This whole area where the milk cabinet was, that's actually an addition built onto the building, and that's going to be initially kind of what we call a two-season porch in Michigan, maybe mid-May to mid-September, where there will be windows and things so you can, well, holes where windows will eventually go, but you will be able to look out now. We eventually intend to put windows with screens and things on there so it can become a four-season area. But for initially, it's going to be kind of a 2.5 or 3-season area. This is all grass out here, so you'd be looking out on that. Although the community garden may put a north side garden over in that area too, depending upon its sunshine. This is where the trucks back up into Olson's now to unload their groceries. That is listed as the garden. That isn't going to be there. There's not enough sunshine there, but we just haven't redone that space. The drawings here to show it. Now, to help orient you a little bit, there's two restrooms right here. Those are the existing restrooms at Olson's right now. If you remember where those were back behind the deli, more or less, those two will stay right where they are. The rest of this will all be primarily offices and storage. Our bookkeeper and accountant's office will be there. Bill Todd, who does all of our Medicare and Medicaid counseling, and Gay Fett, who works on that also, will be in this office. This room right here that shows a table in it will be, for a few hours a month, the room where the board of directors will meet. As it is now, we don't meet here because we take up this whole room, and we can't know if that's going to be going on, and we've got a board meeting in here. But when it's not a board meeting, that will be the computer lab. If you remember, Meyer gave us $25,000 a few years ago, and we bought things like the big screen TV, and we have a cabinet full of laptops, and we will teach all of our computer classes in that room. And then just when the classes aren't being held, that's when we'll schedule a board meeting or other meetings that we need in here. This big area up in here will be a craft area. That will be mostly wide open. There will be some cabinets and things around the edge, but this will be our various craft classes will be. The big advantage is things will be able to be left unfinished. You won't have to put it all away. If you're here for anything now, you know this is it. We have this room. We have one place to do anything. So if it's an exercise class, it's going on here, which is a little difficult if there's bridge going on too or something else, so we can only schedule one event at a time. With this, we could have 4 or 5 events ongoing at the same time, along with two pickleball courts going at the same time. There's space back in here for a food pantry storage. This is a quiet library type area, a small meeting room down there, Sarah's office there. Instead of being crammed into a little cubby hole, she actually now gets a decent sized office where she might actually be able to get some work done. It is a massive change. The front desk will be right here. There will be an entrance here and the main entrance right here. And then just kind of seating out in here, and then all of our tables will be out here. The grand piano that was donated to us, which is now in Sarah's mother's garage, will be out in this area too. It's gorgeous. Wait till you see it, hear it. Wait till Carrie something gets hold of that thing. I think it will be wonderful. Additional restrooms in here. There is no connection between the grocery store and the senior center. You're going to have to go around outside and into, come out here and around and in there, because the entrance to the grocery store is going to be exactly where it's always been, right there. But there will be no moving between. You'll have to go out and around. The kitchen will have a separate entrance right here for A, their food deliveries, and B, their their Meals on Wheels, meals going out. so they don't have to come through the main entrance of the building. There will be an awning out here over the main entranceway into the senior center, so as people are dropped off, they'll be able to have some covering over them. This is an area initially set up for our tax people, but they only operate about 3 months of the year, so that will be other meeting or that type of space. We're not sure exactly what else we're going to have in there, but when they're going, they need a lot of space, but they only need it from the middle of January to the middle of April. But the whole point of the design of this was multiple use, that spaces can be used for multiple things. It isn't just this one room for that and then nothing else but that goes on there. Everything is meant to be cross-used as much as possible. We are leaving, there's big garage doors here. We're going to leave one of those in place because this space is big enough, and plus if you cover the pickleball courts, they will be wooden courts in all likelihood. You can have like a small boat show in there or a small home show. I mean, Manistee hasn't had one of those in 20 years or so. When I was a kid, they were all at the Armory, and then of course after 9/11, anything like that was prevented from going into the Armory. There was no place else to have it. We believe we could have things like that in here. We certainly have the kitchen facility to provide the food for that. We could even have small conventions, a district convention for the Legion or the Eagles are gone, the Elks or something like that. If they needed someplace to hold a meeting, we would be able to have meeting space in there where it could be used when it isn't functioning as a senior center. Don't forget, this building primary occupation is from about 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. We have lots of hours of the day beyond that when we can make use of that space. We're hoping to staff that with volunteers, so any of you who are interested or have relatives who you'd like to have come volunteer, we will be happy to have it. Trying to keep the cost for operating this as low as possible. Now these again are architect's drawings of what a potentially, that isn't a finalized sketch at all, that just gives you a sense of what it could look like in there. We are working with the architect now on the final drawings. The space layout that you see on the second one from the left is essentially correct. There will be some tweaking of where some walls are going to be, but that will be the basic layout of the new building. Work could begin on that just as soon as we have the final word from USDA on the loan, and then the construction will start. They're estimating 60 to 90 days. We're expecting that final word potentially in August, so we're talking about October to November before we would be moving in. So that's the basic. That's the guts of the whole thing. That's the financing of it. That's how it's going to work, basically. So if you have any thoughts, questions, comments.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
That house. What's that house doing over there?
I don't know the entire story. What I've been told is that the house was back there. Olson's wanted, or Kroger's potentially even wanted to buy it initially. The people wouldn't sell. Eventually, Olson's expanded. The people were making a whole lot of noise that the expansion was damaging their house. So Olson's eventually bought it and has just been renting it out ever since. There's a rental family in there now. For right now, there's no plans to do anything other than that with that house.
What was the rental money then?
That property will go to the developer. Now, it could be that they will, if they put up both the buildings, both the apartment buildings, and want to get out, the Council on Aging could end up with it. We'll see. Right now, we don't want to be in the landlord business particularly, but I don't know where that will go. There's no plans at all at this point, just possibilities. Yes, ma'am.
Well, why are we, what is the pickleball court? Why are we having two of them? Is it that big of a thing or what?
It's a huge thing. It's a huge thing every place but here. I subscribe to a magazine called Where to Retire, and there was one that came out recently, and it showed a 55-plus development in Arizona, which is huge. Now, they had an aerial shot of this, and I brought it in to show some people here. I didn't bring it with me, but I brought it in to show Sarah and several others. It's an aerial shot of their big community center, and then the pools, and what's around it. There's about 4 tennis courts, and I think we counted 18 pickleball courts that are there. These are outside. There's a pickleball group that plays up in, I believe it's the Onekama schools now, but they can't put any permanent markings down. They have to put tape down and pick it back up. They're very interested. They will be renting multiple hours a week from us. There are some very avid pickleball players. There's an outside court by the Manistee Township offices, community center, whatever. They're over along the big Manistee River, kind of across the street and behind from the Wesco out there in Parkdale. It's a huge sport for people in their 50s and older. I mean, maybe some younger people too. My college roommate just took it up. We've been friends all these years, and he just retired, and he's playing it down in Muskegon several times a week. We have toured several new senior centers to see what other projects look like, and we went to a massive center. I mean, this one's, what did I say, 40,000 square feet? That one's like 200,000 square feet. They're just phenomenal size. They have 6 or 8, Sarah, help me out here, pickleball courts. So they're booked from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, days and days and days in advance. They were playing constantly when we were there. It's just the exercise for people in their 50s and older. It's a combination of racquetball and tennis and, what's the one where you have the net and you hit the shuttlecock over? Badminton, yeah. The balls are wiffle balls. There are holes in them, so they can go fairly fast, but they're not like going to hit with a tennis ball or anything like that. And you usually play with 4 people, but you can't play with 2. And they're smaller. It's much smaller space than a tennis court, so it's not as hard on the knees. You're not running around as much. Really intense competition. It can be every bit as intense as tennis, but it doesn't have to be. You're on a much smaller court.
And these pickleball courts are also going to be multi-use. So everything comes out of the floor, plug it up, and you can use it for whatever we need it for to. It doesn't take up.
Yeah, we put flooring over the wood floor so that we could have tables out there, for instance. So we wouldn't want to put that on the wood floor, but you can protect the floors and put other tables in there for a big enough wedding reception space or
Have you ever
whatever.
thought maybe in one pickleball court, maybe in your swimming pool?
No.
I mean, seniors like to swim, you know, and
Well, we have the Pain Aquatic Center here, which really fills that bill beautifully. And the cost of A, installing, but B, then maintaining a pool is astronomical, let alone your insurance on it. So, I mean, if somebody has the money and wants to donate it, we'll add one on to that, another part of the building. But mine is a dedicated donation to cover the entire cost, plus a substantial yearly donation to keep it functioning. It's just not within the realm of possibility for us to take that on. Did we think about it? Yeah, for about 30 seconds, and then realized the cost was just beyond anything that we could handle. Once the pickleball courts are in place, other than refinishing the floors, and if they're taken care of, they don't even need to be refinished all that often. But it's a relatively inexpensive way for us to generate some exercise, and it's becoming so popular. We believe it'll catch on here too. But I see another hand. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm a little behind on things, but I've been to some of the city council meetings, but I was just curious now, is it Council for Aging actually buying the store or the whole facility from the developer or from Olson's?
That's correct. We are buying it from the developer. This for us is a turnkey deal. The developer buys everything. The house, the places where the 2 apartments, where those 2, the Redeemed store and the dollar store are now, the developer buys every bit of that. Olson's is gone and out altogether.
So
Third Coast Development buys the whole thing.
So then they do all the construction?
Yes.
So it's not put out for bids or anything like that?
That's correct. They have their developer that they work with, their construction company that they work with, which is Pioneer Construction out of Grand Rapids. They will use local contractors to the extent that there are any available who will want to work on this. They've been making contact already with some of the contractors around here to see who has guys available or women available who's willing to work on this.
As far as pricing, then how do you know if you're in the ballpark or not?
Just
Not going out with bids. I'm just curious.
most of us on the board have been around the block a few times, and we have a pretty good sense of where the pricing would come in on stuff like this. I mean, the per square foot pricing doesn't come out all that bad. In fact, it's downright cheap. I mean, you have an existing building, so we don't have to put up exterior walls and all of that, but there will be all new interior walls, all new ceilings, multiple new windows, because most of it's warehouse where there's no windows. So we simply do not have, on the board, we just don't have the people to take on a massive construction project. We did discuss this a number of times. It made much more sense for us to go with a turnkey project.
And then, I know I haven't seen any figures, but like how much are you paying them for how much is the facility for the seniors? How much is that?
All right.
Or what are your payments gonna be on that? versus your payments from the grocery store?
We will be buying this parking lot out here, this entire building, the parking here. Now, this actually is going to be shared parking, but we will have the title to it, and then the four components, the developer, the grocery store, the developer for that one, the developer with that one, the grocery store, and us will then split the parking lot maintenance and things like that. We are buying the entire thing with the entire senior center piece finished off for $2.5 million.
So then how does the payment, $2.5 million relate to the Save-A-Lot purchase price?
The lease from the Save-A-Lot is approximately $81,000 a year. Working on the math, that's $6,000 or $7,000 a month that we get in. At the 3.375 over 40 years, depending upon how much we borrow, we can get up to $2.5 million. We have the total project at just under $3 million because we have some additional things that we want to do beyond the basic stuff that we're getting from the developer. So we're putting the total price at $3 million, but like I said, we have approximately $450,000 to $500,000 in cash from the sale of this building and the money that we have available that we'll be putting towards that. The capital campaign we are estimating will generate, and this is from the experts who are running it for us, not just again on the back of the envelope estimating on our part here, but will generate at least another $500,000. It could go substantially higher, depending upon where some of the wealthier benefactors come in. And if they come in very generously, every dollar we take in reduces what we have to borrow. So we could end up borrowing as much as $2.5 million, as low as $1.5 million. And our payments, as you can imagine, go all over within that range. We end up having to come up with anywhere from about $1,000 to about $2,000 a month in other income, without touching the money
So
we get.
then there's a time period set on building the center, as far as the developer, there'll be a cutoff time where he's sort of out of it, or is it an ongoing?
Oh, no, I mean, we don't pay him until it's finished. I mean, once he has the certificate of occupancy, and then we go through just like a house, and we check off the list on everything that needs to be done and finished up, and then when we sign off on it, then we send in a wire transfer or a check for the amount that we owe at that point. And then we own it outright, and then the lease is already in place. The lease is negotiated with Save-A-Lot and the developer, and then it will transfer, part of the sale is the lease transfers to us, all the provisions, the locking it in for 10 years and all of that.
Sounds like you put a lot of work.
And there's been a lot of thought. This isn't, again, some just fly-by-night. We've been at this for over a year. We have some expertise on the board. We have other expertise that we've brought in. AES has been absolutely fantastic in their support on this. I tell you right now, without AES, this doesn't happen. It doesn't have a snowball's chance in Hades of happening. Without AES here working with us on this, it just wouldn't be. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Actually, so you actually own the property,
Yes.
and you have hired Third Coast to do the job.
We will own the property. Third Coast buys everything from Olson's, and Olson's is completely out. Third Coast then, once they finish off the remodeling of the senior center side, sell the entire building plus the associated parking lots around it, but not where the two apartment buildings will eventually go or that house behind. The developer keeps those. We buy all of that from Third Coast at that point. We then
So
own
the developer, Third Coast, still owns those two possible sites for
the apartments
the apartments.
and the house up there in Taylor Street behind it.
So then eventually there would be more meetings to decide what Third Coast can and cannot do there.
That's correct. I mean, now, the City Planning Commission unanimously ruled and approved the planned unit development for Third Coast to put the apartment buildings in. That has already passed the City Planning Commission. The City Council, just a couple weeks ago, approved a payment in lieu of tax scheme that the developer has agreed with. The developer applied for some other tax abatements through the state of Michigan, through the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. They did not get them in this round. The next round application will come up in October. They will definitely apply then. They're also looking at other financing opportunities that they may have to do something different with this other than the original plan. So that's where that stands right now. Any other questions? Yes? Oh, I was gonna say yes, sir.
You're gonna rent this out to weddings. Are they gonna be responsible for their insurance and their liquor bill or their liquor license?
Absolutely.
Since we live behind another facility that no longer uses it because of.
Yeah. Jim is married to my cousin, so we go way back on this kind of stuff. But yes, any renting out that we have that would involve alcohol, they will have to get a temporary liquor license from the State Liquor Control Commission, and there will be a temporary insurance to cover any damage to the building. There will be a significant security deposit that will be put down before that. Yeah, we don't have all of that down to the nickel and dime yet, but we know in a ballpark where that stuff's going to be. We've discussed it at least at the 50,000 foot level with our insurance company, and we're sure it can be done. It is done now. Other places do that. John?
Will there be enough parking for all these simultaneous events?
Unless we have a 350 person wedding reception in there, the odds are yes. The city planning director looked into that, and under the city planning guidelines, they have to provide so many parking spaces for so many square feet. Now, they don't figure that as if it's for the biggest event, but for the normal event. Now, if you drove by Olson's anytime, you would see a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen cars in the parking lot. The belief is that the vast majority of time, this parking area over here would pretty much be Save-A-Lot only. That this would be where most of their parking would be. I mean, when it gets around, and initially, don't forget, that building won't be built, so all the existing parking will be out there for the first 6 to 9 months or so. But eventually, this will be essentially the Save-A-Lot parking. They will go into the store right there and come back out. That leaves us with this. That will be added when the second apartment building is put in. That's the planning for that parking lot there. It does meet all of the city requirements for parking availability.
Don't we have the municipal parking lot for overflow?
Exactly. Right across the street is the city parking lot where the farmer's market is now during the day. If you're around here, most days, except when we have the food bank and things like that, there's enough parking even around here. Now, when this food bank things get a little hectic, and I know like the restaurant across the street versus us, but we won't have that problem there. We have had initial conversations with the people who run the food bank about 2 different things. One will be the potential to put a north side community garden out here, just like the one that's up by Guardian Angel Church now, or the one that's over behind the Ironworks now. Will be a community garden run by the community garden people, the same people who put on the farmers market. If this in fact all happens, they may move the farmers market over into this parking lot up here and have it available right outside the senior center during the summer months. And then potentially, if the right producers can be found, we would move it into the senior center during the winter months, so we would have a 12-month farmers market. Those are all very preliminary discussions. Nothing of that is finalized yet, but we've had great interest from the people responsible for those programs about working with us and then making that happen. They see just a natural symbiosis between the Council on Aging and the community garden folks supporting that in. Any other questions? Go ahead,
Now,
Joe.
when you have a project, you have to have a specific date. You can't say, well, we'll move in November, December. When you have a specific date that you choose to make, then you can put all your efforts toward it. So you thought we could probably move in October, November.
Yeah.
Why don't we make a date like on Sarah's birthday? That'd make a good date to try to go to.
Because I picked a date already. And I made a bet with a gentleman who's sitting here in the room. I won't mention his name, but he's running a camera over there.
25 cents.
And it's going to cost me 25 cents because we're not going to be in by October 1st. But, so, John, that construction company's ready to go. The developer is not going to commit to them to start doing the hammering and the nailing. I mean, there are some preliminary things. There's more work going on by the architect, the behind the scenes, the big wiring, not the individual lights and stuff like that, but the moving. Like I said, we had to split it into two completely separate buildings. That stuff is going on already, but the developer is not going to engage the construction company full tilt until we have the absolute final commitment letter from USDA, which we're hoping we're going to see in the next month. Yes.
Have they actually shown you a picture of what this building will really look like? Because I know when they had pictures of the possible rental apartment, we were told, oh, well, it might not look like this, we just have to get something together in a hurry, so this is what we're showing you.
There's another picture that I don't have here, which shows pretty much what that building is going to look like, that apartment building is going to look like. This one is completely subjective at this point. This is the one where he said, we just threw this together because we didn't know exactly what we were going to put in there. We don't know yet what they're going to put in there. But this one is pretty much, there's a, can you go grab that? You know the one I mean, that's got the...
What about the senior center, though, actually? Is what
The senior center is going to look, the layout will be this way. The exterior will be painted. It will largely be the blocks that are there now, with a whole bunch of windows punched in going around here where they're just solid block walls now. But these offices and meeting rooms will have windows in them. There will be a canopy down here where people come in. If you look at, there's going to be eventually a driveway here, and you will go into the kitchen through there and into the senior center right there. Not a whole lot different. We talked initially, the architect had suggested we put in these multi-glass garage doors, and when they're up, you could then have space passage between the seating that you could have in the pickleball courts and the open area. But we've been looking at it and thinking we might put a movable wall in there. It's going to cost a little bit more, but it might be, that space will be kind of blocked off. And if we just have the movable wall there, it'll be much more open when we have the wall recessed. Now that's the, I think you've got the same one there. This is the drawing. Here's the existing, that's the Olson's Corner right there where you go into the grocery store in the Save-A-Lot. The senior center entrance is back there, and that's the apartment building. That's pretty much the plan that they have in mind for the apartment building. But again, we have no control over the apartment building whatsoever. That is entirely a separate development by the developer. We won't be involved in the renting of it, the managing of it, or the building of it. We won't have anything to say about the shape of it, the way it's laid out. I mean, they've been asking us for our opinion and providing information on an ongoing basis ever since this started. But that's a completely separate development. The USDA funding has nothing to do with that. What we're talking about tonight is strictly the senior center. Same developer, same architect, same construction firm, but completely separate pieces. Anybody else? Well, then let me thank all of you for coming tonight. There are a few people in the audience that I will point out to you. We have, I think, one member of the Council on Aging board here. We have Dr. George back there, who is the vice president of the board. And we have Maureen. Where did she go?
She had a board meeting, another board meeting.
Maureen, the secretary of the board, was here. Marlene and Virgil are board members. Velma's out of town, I know that. But I think that's Mary Kay couldn't be here. Mary Kay Wilcox is also on the board. The mayor of the city of Manistee is here, Jim Smith. Again, I would acknowledge my cousin and her husband. So.
Our staff.
Our staff, yes, Sarah and Jeannie and Joe. So, thank you very much. I will hang around and ask any questions, or answer any questions that you have, or try to anyway. Come take a look. There's no such thing as a dumb question. I've been doing this for over a year now, and I still don't know the answers to all of them, so don't hesitate to ask a question. I will get back to you if I don't know the answer when you're here. So, thank you very much.
I would think so. Sound great. Would you walk in?
Hey.
How are you?
Well, we're at the farmer's market on a Saturday morning.
Oh, Alton's is that grocery store, right? If it's open.
Is that Family Dollar Store open?
They didn't do them sub, Grandma.
You left me with. Gonna walk in front of you. Don't tangle. You will have lots of time. Okay, that's all. Oh my gosh! That's cute! Then you see the bubble?
See how far we can get it to go. Oh, you're fine. We're done. Thank you.
Ready?
He's in the house.
Your time may not be the charm.
That was the one that gave him the problem?
Oh, there's my Becky. Hi, my Becky.
I can smell it. Yeah, as I was walking, I can smell a bit of a lavender.
Oh, I know.
Roses and a note that said, our song is a 7th Street door, sneaking down, they tapping on your window. And we're on the phone, now he talks real slow, 'cause it's late and his mama don't know. Our song is a wiki last, first day man, didn't kiss him that I should have. And when I got home, 4 said amen, asking for something to come along. It was as good as our song. Yeah, play it again. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I was riding shotgun with my hair undone in the front seat of his car. I grabbed a pen and an old napkin and I wrote down our song. Oh, there's nothing more to hear you knocking at my door. 'Cause if I could see your face once more, I'd die a happy man, I'm sure. When you said your last goodbye, you died a little bit inside. Laying tears in bed all night, alone without you by my side. But if you loved me, why'd you leave me? Take my body, take my body. And all I want is, and all I need is to find somebody. I'll find somebody like you. So you brought out the best of me, a part of me I've never seen. You took my soul and wiped it clean. Our love is made for movie screens. If you loved me, why'd you leave me? Take my body, take my body. And all I want is, and all I need is to find somebody, find somebody like you. Like you. But if you loved me, why did you leave me? Take my body, take my body. And all I want is, and all I need is to find somebody, find somebody like you. Thank you.
It don't take long.
better. Gotta let go of our goals. Fuck no, we ain't kids no more. Send my love to your new lover. Treat her better. Gotta let go of our goals. No, we ain't kids no more. If you're ready, if you're ready, if you're ready, I'm ready. If you're ready, if you're ready, no, we ain't kids no more. No, we ain't kids no more. I'm giving it up, I'm forgiving it all. You set me free. Oh, send my love to your new lover. Treat her better. Gotta let go of our goals. No, we ain't kids no more. Send my love to your new lover. Treat her better. Gotta let go of our goals. No, we ain't kids no more.
Are you gonna take that jacket with you down there because it's got all the pockets to keep your stuff in?
Yeah, it needs to be washed.
That's what I was